Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to go ahead and look at reading comprehension. So, really, all this is saying is understanding what you are reading is reading comprehension. You comprehend the text that you just read. Okay, now there's a couple different ways to look at this. And again, if you guys would, there is a presentation that you can go ahead and pull up and follow along with me. It is titled Reading Comprehension. Go ahead and open that up. So if we're looking at reading comprehension, there's really four things that we can look at. Now, a couple of them, one or two of them are not, they're more teacher centric, but it's good to know anyway. So reading comprehension, the first one is definition. Um, then you have Barrett's taxonomy of reading comprehension, the questioning technique to develop comprehension, and then the three levels of comprehension. So those are kind of the four main ideas we're going to talk about. So first of all, if you look at what comprehension is, it is the essence of reading. Okay, it is a complex thinking process that requires the reader to construct meaning from the text. So what does that mean, right? So reading comprehension is the ability to read text, process it, and understand its meaning. You know, an individual's ability to comprehend text is influenced by your own traits and your skills, which really gives you the ability to make what we call inferences or assumptions about the story. So reading comprehension is the act of understanding what you are reading. It is intentional. You have to be active while you're doing it. There's this interactive process that occurs before, during, and after you would read a particular piece of writing. So if you're reading something about, baseball, and you know nothing about baseball, you might have a hard time understanding what it is. But if you do play baseball or know about baseball, the story might be a little easier to understand. Like, for instance, I don't think any of you guys probably understand the rules of cricket or polo. But if you did have that prior knowledge, you might be able to understand and comprehend the story a little bit better. So moving on, there's something called Barrett's taxonomy of comprehension skills. Now, this is more of a little teacher tool, but I wanted to show it to you guys just because I think it's important to know how and what teachers ask you and why and how. So if you look at it, looks like a little triangle, and the way you read these things is from the bottom up, like a ladder or building blocks. Okay. So the very bottom one is it's labeled literal comprehension. Now this is literally just understanding what is going on. You're able to label things or list things, identify the names of characters, remember things from the story. This is literal comprehension. This means that you understand there are people, what their names are, and what they did in the story. So pretty easy. That's literal comprehension. Now, reorganization is the next level up, and that is to classify, regroup, rearrange, categorize things. So now you can kind of use some of that prior knowledge that you have to say, okay, well, I'm reading this story, and this section and this section have this in common. So this is the reorganization part of it. The next step is inferential comprehension, which gives the reader the ability to predict, infer, or guess what might happen next. So you're reading a story and you're sitting there going, oh, I bet so-and-so was the murderer, right? The next level is evaluation. You're going to analyze, appraise, evaluate, justify, reason, criticize, or judge. So you're going to go through, maybe you're reading a text and the question from a reading would be like, was Abraham Lincoln justified in starting the Civil War? Then you would be evaluating the reading that you just did. Okay. And finally, appreciation. This is the ability to critique, appraise, comment, or appreciate. So you are essentially able to read something and give your own opinion outside of what you just read. So that's the appreciation. So that's Barrett's taxonomy of comprehension skills. Like I said, it's more of a teacher tool, but it's something good to have in your back pocket to understand how teachers might be asking you a question. Now, next step we're going to look at are the three levels of comprehension. Now, there are three. So we have literal, we have interpretive, and applied. Okay. So what is a literal interpretation, literal level? It focuses on reading the passages, hearing the words, or viewing images. So this is what do you see, what do you hear? It involves identifying the important and essential information. With guidance, you can just distinguish between the important and less important ideas of a story. And we do this, right? If someone's explaining a character and they're giving you her physical appearance, that might play a big role in the story, or it might not. You have to kind of decipher what that is. So something that you might see here is someone's asking for facts or details about the story, or having you remember something about the story. It's really just surface understanding of what the story says. Um, so a very basic question would be, what did the author say when this happened, or what is the author saying about Susie? I don't know. Um, on my slide, I have something say, where did Henry's family go on vacation? Now, just imagine there's a story about Henry going on a vacation and, he went on vacation to Hawaii and he met a guy who plays guitar and all that stuff. Okay. Um, so a very basic literal level question is, where did Henry's family go on vacation? And you can answer that just by reading through and restating, okay, I know he went on vacation to Hawaii or whatever. The next level is the interpretive level. This focus shifts to reading between the lines, looking at what is implied by the material under study. It requires you to combine pieces of information in order to make inferences about the author's intent and message. So you're going to have to maybe tap into some prior knowledge, things that aren't necessarily said in the story, but from your life experience um, how to interpret things. You're going to use this whole new learning from the story uh, by thinking about older information that you know. Okay, it's just making logical leaps and educated guesses based on the story and based on things that you already know. Okay. And finally, the third level is the applied level. Now, this understandings at the literal level and interpretive levels are combined. So this is combining the first two levels. Now, you reorganized and restructured at the applied level to express your opinion. You're going to draw new insights, new ideas to really, read this and come up with something that's not there, but it is, right? And you see this a lot of times in like poetry. You read a poem and say, what is the author writing about? And the whole poem could be about, butterflies and flowers, but he's really talking about death and rebirth and stuff like that. So it's really just taking kind of what you know and applying it to um, a new idea. Okay. So again, if you guys are thinking, of questions, one of the questions you might get is, how would the author's message apply to another situation given what you've memorized and understood at the other two levels? So if you think back, and I told you this kid Henry went on vacation to Hawaii and met a guy with the guitar. Now, an example question from that particular story say, if Henry's friend Tom was the one playing the guitar, do you think Henry would have rolled his eyes? Why or why not? And now you have to say, okay, well, uh, in the story, Henry doesn't know this guy, and he won't stop playing his guitar, and it's very annoying, so he rolls his eyes. Now, if you say, okay, well, if the guitar player is someone that he knows, would he have the same reaction? Why or why not? And then you might have to think, okay, well, I don't know anything about these characters. Maybe Henry's always annoyed with Tom, which they probably would have said in the story, or maybe he loves everything Tom does. I don't know. It's really interesting. Okay. So there is something important to note. If you guys are following along with me, I'm on slide 9. Um, there's kind of three things you need to do, and it all goes back to the applied, uh, inferred, and sorry, the applied level, the literal level, and the interpretive level. As far as reading between the lines, now you've all heard that's this saying before, is read between the lines. What does that mean, right? When you read something, you are literally reading the lines. You're reading it line by line. You are taking what it says. Boom, there we go. Now, reading between the lines are things that are not quite said directly. Okay, so that's reading between the lines. What is this person actually thinking and saying based on the reading that you're doing? And as the other level of this is reading beyond the lines, which means, okay, nothing about this is here, but maybe I can make some guesses or predictions based on what I've read, and based on what I can see that's between the lines. Okay. So this is reading comprehension. It's really just kind of getting down to the nitty gritty and understanding, hey, I have the story. I can remember the names, I can remember the characters, I can remember all this other stuff that's very, very bottom line. That would be that literal comprehension where you're literally remembering things in the story. Then you're able to reorganize them and kind of put them into categories. Uh, Really, where I want you guys to be is that inferential comprehension is where you can predict and guess things that are going to happen in the story, or might are kind of reading in between the lines there. So just keep in mind when you're reading, try to use your life experiences as a way to understand the reading. Okay, don't just think of it as, oh, this is just another dumb story that Mr. Kanaz is making me read. Use your own experience to help understand the reading. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. You're gonna have probably a worksheet or two to work on. You'll have bell work. Make sure you get that done. And until next time, we will see you later.